What is up, Back Porch followers? I'm Nate. I'm back for another recap show. It's been about 2 weeks because we took a hiatus during the holiday break. And I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody's listening to us. And like always, I'm joined by the boys on the back porch. We got Scott, the one and only, horns down, Ohio State hurting, but he's proud of his boys. Gave it their all. Field goal wide left. Scott is here, and we're going to talk about some football. And and then obviously it's a full slate today. We also got our boy Jake. Jake is on the mic tonight as well, so it's got a full show. It's a full back porch here. Boys, say hello.
What up, what up, what up?
I'm still hurting. It's January 3rd, and I still haven't recovered.
That's okay. This is group therapy. You get it off your chest, and that's how we do this. So, Scott, it's been 2 weeks, Christmas, New Year's Eve. Tell us about your holiday. Did you have a good one? If not, make it up. We want a happy show, obviously. So just catch us up on life, man.
Yeah, so Christmas was not ruined by the Browns for the second year in a row, so shout out to them. Very rough Christmas last year. But if you have a great Christmas, you cannot have a great New Year, and that is why we have the Ohio State Buckeyes, where they shouldn't have even been there. Shouldn't have been in the playoff. They got lucky. Shout out USC, Utah. Thank you for the heartbreak. Comes down to I would have rather been blown out than lose that close, to be honest with you.
Really?
That's one of my arguments that I get into. Like, if I lose, I would rather just be blown out. The heartbreaks hurt. The blowouts hurt too, but they don't hurt as much because when you expect to be blown out and you're up, 17 points in the fourth quarter?
Roughly, yeah.
It was something. It was at least two scores.
It was at least two scores, yeah.
And you get that close to beating the new Alabama in Georgia. It hurts. It hurts a lot. And the way that it just lined up with that video of the countdown of the ball and lining up for the field goal and then kicking it and it just not even being close, like right off the foot, just not even close. It was just like being stabbed in the heart and twisted and down through, just the worst feeling. And that's bad way, fun excitement to the end of the year and just kicking off the new year.
Yeah,
very depressing.
Well, we can. I know you can talk all day long, but just want to get to Jake. I want to introduce everybody. Jake has been on the show in a little bit. So, Jake, what's up, man? Did you have a happy holiday? Give us your rundown, man. I know you're watching the World Cup more than anything during the holidays. So.
Yeah, no, it was. It ended on a bang, too. It was a great way to end the World Cup. My boys in France obviously didn't win, but I don't care. I'm a huge Messi fan, so I'm just glad the GOAT got his. Now we can move on and just move forward. But yeah, man, been watching a lot more NFL these days since Auburn's not in a bowl game, but keeping up with a little bit of recruiting. Hugh Freeze is just smoking people. I mean, you go from the 40s to like the 16th, 17th ranked class in a matter of, he's been on the plains for 3 weeks. Unreal job he's done down there. Gotten everything but linebackers. That's the only thing we really need to fill out a roster. And looks like some guys in the transfer portal are going to help fill us out there. So
absolutely,
been great keeping up with recruiting, watching my Bengals just do their thing. It's been a great few weeks. Obviously, with all respect for what happened, last night with Hamlin. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to him. Being a Bengals fan, I was watching it live. I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit later, but thoughts and prayers out to Hamlin and his family for sure.
Absolutely. So, today's rundown. Thanks, guys. Obviously, it's been awesome to get you guys all together and we can talk about some football. We are still in the midst of football season, so we're going to be obviously football oriented. We're going to break down some bowl games. We're going to break down the playoff, the last two games and our top bowl games, and then kind of a preview of what's to come in 23 when it comes to look at college. Mainly, we're going to be looking at these transfer portals, where these good quarterbacks are going, where these studs are going, right? AKA Colorado, because they want to go see, be with Dion, obviously. Then we're going to talk about the NFL and do a rundown of NFL. Talk about our contenders, pretenders, like we did last time with Scott. A lot has changed in 2 weeks. A lot of football has been played, and then we'll probably talk about what happened last night during Monday Night Football with Hamlin. Guys, I'm ready. Let's get into this show. I'm ready. So let's kick it off. Let's jump right into it. Where do we want to begin? We want to begin in the playoffs? Talk about the playoff, that first game. We want to talk about the second game. You tell me. I'm a wild card.
I think we should recognize a couple games that were awesome, particularly Arkansas, Kansas. That was an electric game. 3 overtimes, over 100 points scored, 18 points in the fourth quarter by Kansas. Arkansas was in shambles. What a run
game.
25-7 in the second half. Kansas
there was so far behind. I flicked that game off. I was like, I'm done with this one. Next thing I know, Kansas got the ball right before the end of the game. They tie it, and you're like, what the hell happened, Arkansas? And what happened was I think that game honestly represented their entire season.
Yep.
In my opinion, their season has been a wash like that, where they've been in so many good games because they have a really good running game. Well, they can't throw the ball because they lost wide receivers last year. KJ Jefferson looks mediocre at best sometimes. So that game really just represented their entire season. And they ended up winning that game because of grit and because of they have better players in Kansas, honestly. Mm-hmm. But that game also represented Kansas' season because they were at 1.5-0. They just don't have depth, and they had a very heavy loaded back of the end schedule, and of course they dropped like 6 in a row. But kudos to me, Kansas should have won the game. They had more to fight for. Arkansas made the SEC West look bad again in the bowl games. But it was an amazing game. It was a fun game if you just love football. So that was a phenomenal top 5 bowl game outside of the playoffs for sure. There were some snoozers for sure.
Yeah, lots of snoozers.
Lots of snoozers.
It was snoozers or slugfest. Like there wasn't really a middle ground.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't on television. You had to watch it on like your laptop and stuff. But the Barstool Bowl was actually an incredible game.
Yeah.
Like really good football game. Even funnier broadcast. Like shout out Jake. He was definitely great on the call where Big Cat and Dave were, just clowning around on there, which it was good entertainment for sure.
Yeah.
30-27 overtime. Like it was great.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better
different type of football.
It's a mid-tier bowl game that got a New Year's Eve slot.
Yep.
Because they created their own schedule because they streamed it. So I thought that was a good game. Ohio, definitely they won the MAC, and they had a really good year this year. So they ended up having a really good opponent in Wyoming, from the Mountain West, and it showed. So those are kudos to them. Barstool on their first bowl game. Hope Jersey Jerry gets his ankle healed. Recovery from his ankle because
he took a hit.
He took an L. Oh my god! Can we talk about his running? His knees didn't bend when he ran. I've never seen someone straight leg a run.
Oh yeah, that's probably why he just tipped straight over. It was
so bad. It was so bad.
I hope he's recovered. He had to ice a lot. I bet.
That's so stupid.
But playoff games, geez, did you expect that from TCU and Michigan?
I don't want to lie. No, I did not expect that from TCU. I expected Michigan to do what they did early on in the game. but I expect TCU to continue to go blow for blow, shot for shot, to the point where they were ahead.
Mm.
Like that, how much ahead they were at half. That was incredible. I didn't think Max Dugan was actually going to be that good. Just because I've only seen him against Big 10, Big 12.
Yeah.
So, also, you don't realize how fast TCU plays until they play somebody else outside the conference. So that was my biggest take on that one. Speed kills. Speed is the common denominator. It equals everything out. If someone other team has size, speed still kills it. And they run that 3-3-5 against that Big Ten power run. That was impressive. So that was my take on it. Kudos to Sonny Dykes and his staff for getting them ready to play big boy football. And they tackled well. They fundamentally played really good sport, a really good game. So it was a good one. What do you got?
I thought that both those games were incredible, and I think I speak for Jake too on both teams with defense. I think we were both very, very surprised on how bad the defense was for both games. Like I thought that Michigan would defend a little bit better. I'm sure Jake did too.
Yeah, no, I obviously I picked Michigan to win, and it obviously didn't pan out. I literally, the last time we were on, we talked about the playoffs. It was right after the playoff selection. I told you and the rest of the audience, I was like, yeah, well, Ohio State's going to hang for 3 quarters. They hung for
The whole game.
literally the whole game. I mean,
Yeah.
literally. So, I mean, I was wrong on both. And, I mean, that's on, I mean, it is what it is. Bowl season's crazy. I'm terrible. With the exception of last year, I'm normally terrible at picking bowl games because it's just, I mean, for one, I'm a big SEC West guy. Nate doesn't get this because he's in the East, but we just don't care about bowl games. It's just a typical SEC thing. Scott's over there steaming right now because he's a big Rose Bowl guy that thinks.
Yeah, well, the Rose Bowl's fun, but I'm under the impression I don't get. I can never do it, and this is a conversation that people have all year. Especially around bowl season. I don't root for like my arch rivals in a bowl game. Like I didn't care like Penn State, beating Utah. Like I was like, oh, okay, Penn State beat Utah. Like that should happen. But I'm not like rooting for them to win where I got Alabama fans telling me before the playoff game against TCU and Georgia. I was like, oh, you see we're running K-State out of the stadium. Like you're going to tell me that we didn't deserve to be in the playoff? Yeah, please. Michigan put up 45 on TCU, and Ohio State put up 41 on Georgia. Like the committee actually got it right. We can argue back and forth, and he's like, "Well, they're not one. Those aren't the 4 best teams. The objective is the 4 best teams." Like, no, I'm agreeing with you that there has been a precedent set in the college football 14 playoff that if you are a 2-loss team, no matter who you are, you could be the blue blood Alabama. With 2 losses, you are not getting in. If Bama did not lose to LSU, 4-loss LSU, sorry. If they did not lose that game to 4-loss LSU, 1-loss Alabama is in over 1-loss Ohio State. I don't make the rules, the committee does. And I'm telling you, if they didn't lose that game, Ohio State would have had 0 chance after getting blown out of the water in Michigan.
Yeah. I feel like you have – it's so impossible to go undefeated now in college football anyway. So it's good to lose at least one. I
like that the 12-team playoff, that 1 loss will kill your season. Yes. Like Ohio State played a very, very good brand of football majority of the year. There was like a couple halves that they didn't play well, like the Northwestern game, but there was 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, that was to say the wind was blowing
out those. Yeah. The first half against the Notre Dame, very slow, but
it was the first game of the year.
Yeah, first game of the year. So you take a couple bad halves of football and then you lose to Michigan. You're like, wow, the season's over. Like it's a bad feeling. Now with the 12-team playoffs, people are like, oh, well, those games don't mean anything. No, they do mean something because does Ohio State want a bye or do they want to go down south to play Georgia at home or play Alabama at home or play LSU, in Death Valley? Like I'm sure those games are very important to them. Does Michigan want the home game, or do they want to go to USC in California? Does Alabama want to go up north to Wisconsin to play Luke Fickell when it's negative 10 degrees in Wisconsin? All those games are still going to be important. You want the bye or the home game. You want the 12-team playoff makes all these teams want a top 4 seed, but they'll settle for a top 8 seed, and they'll just be happy to get their chance if they're 9 through 12. So everything's still very, very important in the 12-team playoff. It does not. It makes you have a little bit of wiggle room, which is fine, but all this pressure for one game, I can make the argument that Ohio State put too much pressure on the Michigan game in preparation, knowing what was at stake, and they just didn't play their brand of football, and it almost cost them the season. And they come out and they look so good against Georgia. Like, what does that tell you? Too much self-pressure on themselves.
Absolutely. See, while we're talking about that, about pressure, the playoffs, all that stuff, I first of all, the state of football is there's no more defense. There's so many freaking athletes out there that play all different positions, and the new college offense is literally basketball on turf. It's spread it as wide as you can, create lanes, and get the ball to your athlete and let them go.
Yep. And the penalties are favored to the offenses.
Yeah. And that's how the game's played today. So, like, when you do see a team like Illinois this year with a top 10 defense play, Mississippi State, who had a top 10 offense all year, and they only held them to like 19. Well, the 6 points didn't count really at the end of the game. They really held them. They really held them to 13. That was impressive.
What a backdoor cover by the way. Mississippi State.
Seeing defensive teams now, your top defensive teams, after breaking down like all of the when we do our tier stuff and stuff like that, I've learned a lot about your top 10 defensive team in the nation is going to allow 18 points a game to 20 points a game.
You ain't pitching shutouts these days.
No, there's no more shutouts. It's just the game is too different. And that's just how it is. So when you take your top 4 best offenses in the nation, and Michigan had a top 20 offense. They could score. And you put them in the playoff against each other, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get electricity.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going to happen Monday night. I mean, I think Jake's the biggest advocate of, defense. Defense doesn't win championships anymore. We say it, but it's not true.
Don't.
It's not true anymore.
They just need one stop. You just need 1 to 2 stops defensively.
Yeah, exactly. You need one good defensive drive to win a championship.
Yeah, it's either special teams and mediocre defense wins championships.
Who else is on TCU? I think TCU can hang.
They'll hang because of their speed. They'll hang because of the 3-3-5. Georgia hasn't seen a 3-3-5 all year long. Normally, you just see 4 big studs just maintaining their gap, and pretty much that's it. And allow the linebackers fill. But with a 3-3-5, how the level they're running the 3-3-5, that nose guard that they have, he's literally controlling those 2 A gaps by himself.
Yeah,
that's impressive. So if Georgia's going to have to double team him, which means now you have a guard and a center taking one person, which means they're whatever play side the ball's going to, those linebackers are easily going to fill that because they know wherever the double team's coming. Right? So if they're going to do like a counter or whatever, or a power, the pulling guard means the play side guard and the center are doubling that nose, which that nose, all he has to do is literally just get his big ass in the B gap, the AB gap right there, which means that play side linebacker, all he has to do is just fill. And And Georgia has struggled running the ball. We know that.
Yep.
And so the issue is there's 5 DBs on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And these linebackers can cover.
Yeah.
So, and they said, and when you run a 3-3-5, everybody has to be really good at tackling, like in space. So the 3-3-5, honestly, is a really good defense to counter Georgia's pass attack, because their counters might not work. Not their counters, but their play actions might not work as well, because you only have 3 down linemen.
Yep.
Everybody else is 5 of them are already read pass first, not run first. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting.
Although you do have a veteran college quarterback, stat of the day: Stetson Bennett, Josh Allen, same age. Josh Allen, 5th year in the NFL. Stetson Bennett, 6th year in college. Very, very veteran.
Both are goats.
Quarterback.
So
he's seen a lot. He's played JUCO. He's played other spots. He could have seen 3-3-5 before, but you never know. But I think TCU has a chance. I don't think they're going to get blown out of the water. I'll take up the cover.
I don't think so. What about you, Jake?
We'll see. It all depends on. It really depends on what Duggan can do against that Georgia defense. Now, obviously, Ohio State exposed them, but we haven't really seen Georgia. We haven't really seen Georgia have 2 bad back-to-back defensive games. We've seen them have bad back-to-back offensive games. But if Duggan can't get going, we could kind of see an eerily similar game to that TCU-Michigan game where Georgia's defense is scoring points for them to help out what may become a problem on offense. So something to keep an eye on. I do think it's going to be close. Maybe at halftime it's close, but I really do – I don't know, man. I don't want to roll with TCU here, and I hate Georgia. I'm an Auburn fan. I want Georgia to lose, trust me, but I just don't see how TCU can do it back-to-back times. But sometimes when you're the team of destiny.
12.5 is the spread.
12.5?
I
think Georgia. If Georgia wins, I think it's 2 touchdowns. I really do, but I'm not taking that line. You can't pay. No,
that's crazy. 12.5.
I'm not putting money on that line.
Title game.
Does location play a factor into the game?
I mean, it's SoFi.
Where's the game?
It's in Los Angeles. Yeah, it's in England. So it's as far as you can go away from Georgia.
It's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, I don't think
Texas,
it does.
That's a far trip for anybody in Texas as well. It's not as far, but
TCU plays in Jerry's World, so at the Big 12 title game.
That's true, they did. Yeah.
So they've been under that like big stadium, like that big stadium vibe. Like there's always that that saying in basketball that when you go into a bigger arena, shooting free throws is harder because of perception, the visual perception with levels and how the arenas are built. I think TCU can play under those big lights.
Yeah,
Georgia plays Mercedes-Benz. So I don't know. I don't think if the field's going to have that environment. Georgia's been there at the SEC title game against Bama. Like they play in Death Valley. I don't think that the environment has anything to do with it. And I also think that TCU's playing with house money. There's no expectation. It's the same thing with the way Ohio State played. And all you got to do, they just didn't look conditioned to play. That could be the fact that there was a month off between the SEC title game and the playoff game. Everyone wasn't conditioned to play 4 quarters again. Maybe they get their step back. But I tell you what, TCU might hang around, and don't be shocked if they pull off the upset. I
won't be. I won't be.
I'll be shocked just because they've had to run the table the whole year. Like they've only lost 1 game.
Yeah, and they should have won that game. They should have played that game differently. Like if they had to win that game, I think that they would have played it differently.
It was also someone they've beaten already.
Yeah.
So hard to beat someone. It's honestly so hard to beat someone twice. Yeah. So like Kansas State had their number. And they already did enough work already before that game that they knew they were going to be, in the playoff. So, it's just 12.5 points you're going to need the ball to bounce your way once. And it needs to it'll be probably a special teams kind of thing. See, that's where, like, David versus Goliath, you need special teams because no one really focuses on it. And that's where it's like Georgia's dude muffs the punt, they get the ball on the 20.
But Georgia's special teams coach, we saw how smart he was. He got that time off. He had literally the timeout of college football because they radioed down to Kirby, and Kirby got it off in time.
He looked at it.
They don't get that timeout. We're talking Ohio State TCU right now. And
that's an instinct.
That was the best defensive play that they had all night.
Yeah,
besides the targeting of Marvin Harrison Jr.
And that comes from film study. Yeah, that's film study. That is analytics at its best. Just being around football long enough, knowing like, hey, I feel like this is coming. I've seen this before.
So, dumb proposition here. In the what if world, they called the timeout because they saw the fake. They got the fake off. You called the timeout. No one thinks the objective of a fake punt. We've talked about it. Is to do it when they're not expecting you to, which at the time, I don't think anyone was expecting them to do it. And then it happened, but the timeout got in on time, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Do you think that what happens if Ohio State goes out there and runs it again? Like, is that dumb? That's a dumb what if scenario. But
that's where
if you think about it, like
they were in punt safe.
They were in punt safe though.
Yeah, they were in punt safe. They were in punt safe.
Yeah. So, like, if you run it again and you get it, that's on Georgia for not being.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think that they should have just lined up in the same formation and actually ran it again because
ran another play?
Like we got the time off and time out in time, and like we caught them. Like they're definitely not going to run it again. And then Ryan Day turns around. Oh yeah, you think that you can stop it twice? Like you didn't stop it the first time. I'm going to do it again. I don't know.
Let me tell you something. I think Ryan Day should have done it, and I would never suggest this ever before. One of my best friends is a kicker at not the highest level, but in college, one of my good friends. Dude, he should have, when he saw that kicker's face after Georgia called the timeout, he should have let them line up and called a timeout as he gets ready to snap the ball and given him a practice kick. I would never suggest your own coach icing you before, but his face, when I saw that kicker's face during that timeout, he looked like he could have crapped through a screen door. Like, he was so nervous, man. There was no way he was hitting that kick. If he would have iced him,
the craziest thing, he's been so good, like his whole career. Like, I was genuinely shocked it was that bad. But yeah, he
got the yips at the worst time.
He looked so scared, man. I would have iced my own kicker to give him a practice kick, because he gets a practice kick and gets that nerve out of him. He hits it cool.
That first one would have been down the middle.
Dude, if you hit it as a kicker that is that good, if you hit it, you're like, oh, I can hit it again. If you miss it, you're like, okay, got that one out of the way. You know, so, but that's just and nobody's ever going to ice their own kicker. But
that's a conversation that has to happen, like on the sideline, as they're like, hey, I'm gonna let you get a practice kick, just a heads up. I'll get the timeout in there, but just go ahead and kick it, like, and then he can, at that point, it's like, hey, coach, like, just let me get it first try. Like, I got this. Or it's like, hey, I'm cool with that. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those conversations.
Absolutely.
Just from the couch, guys,
From the couch, doing what we do best.
True.
So I want to talk. So we've pretty much, we can all just say this. It was a phenomenal playoffs. The college committee got it right. Got the best 4 teams in. They gave us the best 2 games. I would say the last year's game sucks compared to this year's. This has probably been the better playoff games that we've seen all around, in my opinion, until we get to the 12-team playoff, which that's going to be insane.
You're so awesome.
But, non-playoff games, we talked about those 2. There are some teams coming into the 2023 as we segue into our next segment, which is what to expect in 23. We saw some teams show out with players sitting for the draft or guys hurt. So I want to mention the Orange Bowl. Obviously, you guys know I'm a Tennessee fan at heart. I did not see the Vols dominating Clemson the way they did with Joe Milton. That was thoroughly impressive for a New Year's Six game, especially. They have not been to a New Year's Six game ever. The last BCS New Year's game they've ever been to was '98, and we all know they won the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Losing Hooker, having a backup in against a Clemson team who, on paper, is a top 10 defense. And they had two of their wide receivers out for, that are declaring, and the backup quarterback, and they won 31-14. My hot take is it looks like they're even going to be even better next year. Because Hooker might not, Joe Milton might not be Hooker, but Joe Milton's going to have weapons, even more weapons around him, and their running game's going to be better. So
yeah, I can agree with it.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to be Hooker; he can just be himself. Mm-hmm. And he looked poised like that. Those two passes that he threw for 60 yards was just a flick of a wrist. Last year he would have overthrown those guys by 20 yards. So like, there's some clearly coaching going on behind the scenes that he's picking up. Mm-hmm. And then the fact that Tennessee's defense held Cade Klubnik, the savior to Clemson's offense, to pretty much nothing, and they shut down Will Shipley. That was impressive from the SEC standpoint because their defense hasn't been very good all year.
Yeah, I'm not a huge believer in the Clemson hype. I obviously think that the competition that they've been facing in the ACC has been weak over the past 2 years, with the QB struggles with DJ and Dabo just walking into Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence was his back-to-back. He wasn't there with Taj Boyd, right?
Yeah, he was.
Who was
he? Was he there?
It might have been in his first year. I think
Taj Boyd was his first year, and then he had Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Deshaun.
And then they had Kelly Bryant. And then Trevor Lawrence.
Yep, the Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence.
And then
DJ. Like, I think that he's ridden the coattail success of two generational quarterbacks in college football in Deshaun and Trevor. And I think it's definitely helped all those guys around him having those quarterbacks. They elevate the play of the guys around them. And DJ wasn't doing that this year. Plus the competition that they see in the ACC, they have some wiggle room. But when they get to those teams that are more talented than them and can recruit better, you can see what backups in the SEC can do against that system in Clemson. Clemson's got to have everything going right for them. And Tennessee's just a better program, and they are ascending. And I think Clemson's on a little bit of a decline here.
Yeah. What do you think about Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. And I'm going to have to dip in just a second, but I'm going to give my 23 hot take for teams next year.
Yeah, go ahead.
Two teams. Well, one team in particular. The other one's not as hot. Oregon Ducks. Watch out for them. Bo Nick's coming back.
Oh yeah.
Massive.
I was just going to say Pac-12.
Pac-12. I mean, because USC would have been my other team.
USC's going to be a problem.
But look out for somebody in the SEC, and it could be Tennessee, not named Georgia or Alabama, to make the playoff next year. That's going to be my number one hot take.
Could be LSU.
Very well could be, but we will see. It could be LSU, could be Tennessee, but that's my hot takes. Unfortunately, I do have to.
You got to go.
Dip. Got to wrap
Jake,
it up.
It was always a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. Y'all take it easy, guys.
Yes, sir.
All right, talk to you later, Jake.
Bye, buddy. All right, let's just continue with Jake's his.
I love that take of the Oregon Ducks. USC. That's my hot take. So
they're three players. They're three defensive players. They're three defensive players from being dominant.
And I think what we were just talking about, defense, they just have to make a couple of plays. Next year, Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams, repeat revenge, but not revenge, but
not even that. Just like
back on the Heisman, and then to get back to the playoffs, USC might be back.
Oh, man, just to see how efficient they were this year.
He'll be next year. He can make every throw, and he is already 1-1.
His throws that he makes when he's running the ball and then he's throwing it off of his back, like not his back foot, but like when you're, like a shortstop throwing it with momentum going towards first. Like his throws.
He can do the Patrick Mahomes sidearm,
yeah,
like
it's sick.
around the defender.
He's good, man. And then bringing in Springer from Arizona to bridge the gap that they're losing with Addison. The rich just keep getting richer. They just need like 3 Troy Polamalu's. That's all they need.
USC's not going to be losing those guys in their backyard anymore.
No, those guys
they were losing those guys
going.
to Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama. They're not going to be going across country anymore.
Yeah,
they're going to be at USC.
The good USC's back in the day defensively had 2 stud defensive ends, one middle linebacker who was just roided out, and then like a crazy Troy Polamalu athlete. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's all they needed. And the rest were good. The rest were fantastic, but you had like 4 studs on defense, and that's how they won. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what they're going to get this year too. Mm-hmm. Coming up 23. You could just talk about the Pac-12. I'm going to be so tired next season.
Yeah.
Because every game
noon to it's going to be a 13-14 hour run every day.
Because the Pac-12, they're going to start their first games at 3 o'clock our time, and they're going to go till midnight. Pac-12 after dark is going to be insane because Oregon's going to be good. Washington with Penix coming back is going to be good.
Washington's going to be really
good. Oregon State,
Utah,
USC, UCLA. It's going to be good.
They're actually good.
Like really good football. And DJ Ukulele or whatever is going to Oregon State, and they won 8 games this year. They're going to be freaking good. Mm-hmm. So kudos. Tip my hat off to the Pac-12 next year. That is the conference that's going to have at least 5 to 6 teams ranked the whole year, and they're going to obviously beat themselves. Oh, also Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. Like we didn't even talk about Deion.
Like they're not going to be good.
They win 5 games. They're going to win 5.
I think 5 games. That's a huge increase. Good for you. Mm-hmm. But how many Colorado games are going to be on Fox Sports? At least 2, and then 2 are going to be on ESPN. Mm-hmm. So like we're going to see Colorado a lot as well. But the quarterback play in the Pac-12 is insane, insanely awesome.
Deion better keep going.
So that's my 23 preview. Another 23 preview. Florida State is my ACC early champion.
I agree. I'm with you.
The way their quarterback Travis plays, he's played lights out. And then the ACC's got a lot of good teams too, as well. But ACC, I would love to see Florida State and North Carolina.
Yeah, another year
with Drake May. Mac Brown gets some more defensive guys. That is going to be electric. One of my favorite bowls this year was the Oklahoma-Florida State game. That was a Cheez-It Bowl. They did not disappoint. Cheez-It did a great job with that game. But no, Florida State, man, they're looking really, really good. I don't care who you are. If you say Miami's going to win 5 to 6 games, I don't know how. They have a lot of new talent coming in, but you're talking about difference in 3 games, like in him building his culture in his second year. If he wins 6 to 7 games, I'll give him Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Because there's so much he has to do before they even can hit the field in August. Yeah. So, so those are like the Pac-12, Florida State, another Penn State next year with Drew Aller. Mm-hmm. Kids the truth. They're going to be better.
Wisconsin's going to be better
with Luke Fickell. And if you're listening to this, when he coached the game, the Holiday Bowl or whatever bowl game it was, I didn't know that. I was like, why does Wisconsin have 30 points? And I was like, oh, Luke Fickell's actually. You never see the incoming coach the bowl game.
Yeah, it was strange, but that's just the type of guy Fickell is. He's going to run a good defense. He's going to have the offensive coordinator.
They look good.
Yeah, they're going to be a very good team. Michigan State will turn it around. I think Michigan might go down a little bit. Harbaugh is gone to the NFL.
He's rumored.
No, I think he's gone.
You think he's gone?
Yeah, there's reports saying that if he gets an offer, he's gone.
Okay.
I think he thinks that this was the year that he could bring home the title, and I think now he's like, well, this is the peak. This is where I can get Michigan, and someone else has to take it.
over.
But he wants to go back to the league. He thought that he had the Vikings job last year, but around the time of the Vikings job, that was rumored that he was going to get that job was when the Brian Flores allegations came out against Miami for them. And what had happened was the Vikings got scared that the rumor got out about him having the head coaching job, and the Vikings hadn't interviewed a minority yet.
Oh,
so the Vikings got cold feet to give him the job, and then they ended up hiring a white dude anyways. So it's a little different. But yeah, the Panthers called Harbaugh today. God bless you.
Thank you.
But the Panthers called Harbaugh today, asked if he would be interested in conducting an interview after the conclusion of the season. Indianapolis is obviously a place that has a head coach opening that he played for in Indy.
Yeah, he did play for
Denver has contacted Harbaugh. I think the offers are going to be there, and I would be shocked if Harbaugh is back at Michigan. But Michigan State turns it around. Ohio State will be there again as usual.
Iowa's going to look better.
Iowa. Shout out to them. Didn't they win like 21-0?
21-0 against their defense scored. Their defense had 14 points. And their offense scored once.
Yeah, shout out to that's a very Iowa football game.
Shout out to Kurt Ferentz. They're gonna have a better offense next year because Kate McNamara is gonna be their quarterback.
Yep.
So they'll have a better. Yeah. There's been a lot of transitions. Portal has put a lot of good quarterbacks in places that needed to be. So the SEC, you're going to have your typical Bama, Georgia. Tennessee's not going anywhere. A lot of people want to think that this is a one-and-done thing. It's absolutely not. Josh Heupel's building he's building something. And that offense isn't a fluke. People want to talk about it as a gimmick. It's not a gimmick. It's 2 years in a row that they led the nation in scoring and offense with guys that weren't even his. They were Jeremy Pruitt players. So he's getting his dudes, and he's getting his defenses guys. And
transfer portal guys are going to come in.
Yeah, they got what they needed, I believe, already in the transfer portal. They got a middle linebacker from BYU who's a senior. He's a 5th-year senior, so you don't care who you are. If you played 5 years in college football, that's pivotal to your position group. And they bring him in. On top of that, they'll have Beasley and Mitchell, who are going to be juniors and seniors. So they're going to be very loaded when it comes to the linebacker position. They're just missing defensive back talent, which if you look at their 23 class, it's nothing but TBs.
Yeah.
And defensive line, they're set. So, and offensively, you got a dude named Squirrel White running out there, you're fine.
Exactly.
It's like there's a dude named Squirrel White, and he's a fast black kid. He's just running around beating everybody. He's so just throw it up.
And then after Deuce Vaughn, like just incredible names.
Incredible names. So I really don't see a letdown in the offense. And if there is an early quarterback competition, they have the Nico kid, the 5-star kid coming in. So like it's everything you want to see as a fan. So you got the East looking good. South Carolina's still full gold. They're still fool's gold to me. That's my biggest hot take, and I literally will die on this mountain this year in 23 because they're gonna come out a top 25 team. They're not. If they don't get turnovers and one special teams touchdown, they won't win. That's easy. That's easy to stop.
Yeah.
It's like that's easy to stop. Like what they did against Tennessee They'll never be able to do that again.
Yeah, no shot.
They will be 8-4 again next year. They will be 8-4 next year. Fool's gold. They still have Rattler. He sucks. That's my hottest take. I'm pretty sure all of Columbia is going to hate.
Total under next year.
They'll have 8 wins.
Yeah, I don't know where it'll probably be set at 8.5. I'll take the under.
Yeah, I would take under that because they have to go to Knoxville, and it's going to suck for them.
Yeah.
They have a very hard schedule next year, but Florida's like 6 wins this year. They haven't had a clue. They have a lot. They have 22 transfer portal guys.
Yeah.
They have a lot. Billy Napier's got a huge mountain to climb. Ole Miss, I just don't see Ole Miss being good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Hugh Freeze is Auburn, he's kind of taken that mantle away, the recruiting mantle away. LSU is going to be really good next year. They're just stupid talented, and they showed that against Purdue. That wasn't even fair.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it was 45-0. I was like, what the hell happened?
Yeah,
So LSU, Jaden Daniels is coming back. Everybody's coming back, and they didn't lose anybody in the transfer portal, and they're getting transfer portal players. Yeah. So they're going to be a really good team. So it's going to be in the West. It's going to be pretty much Bama, LSU, and a third team, which it could be A&M. I don't know, but I don't see it.
Yeah, it's a downward spiral happening.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good 23. There's going to be a lot of good teams, a lot of good Group 5 teams too. A lot of those teams like UTSA, Troy, Southern Alabama, Southern Miss, Marshall, their coaches didn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those, you would think a lot of those coaches would have moved up, but they didn't. So we'll see. It's going to be a really good. It's going to be. I thought this year was good. This year is going to be 23 is going to be electric for college football.
Yeah,
and
looking forward to it.
And the draft, NFL. So as we segue into our NFL segment, the draft this year is okay. Next year's draft
is going to be unbelievable.
Like it's insane how much talent in the draft.
I don't know which city I'm going to, but I will be starting the campaign. I will get in contact with my T-shirt guy because we're going to start a campaign to collapse for Caleb. So, I don't know what city it's coming to. We'll have a theme song, and we'll get T-shirts, and we'll be in the parking lot at
He's worth it.
the home game, and we will be collapsing for Caleb. I don't know if it's going to be Miami, the Jets, the Packers, Aaron Rodgers. If it's going to be the Rams could be doing it. They might not have their first round pick, but
no, they might not.
Seattle, there's plenty of
Atlanta.
teams that it's open for for discussion.
A ton of teams.
Could it be
Tampa,
Pittsburgh,
Tampa Bay,
Tampa? That would be great because I'd be able to drive out there every Sunday to sell those T-shirts.
That boy's gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah, so we're starting the Collapse for Caleb campaign. Stay tuned to what city it is coming to.
It's gonna come to you, city near you.
Yep.
Collapse for Caleb.
And then to your city.
He's legit, man. Yeah. NFL.
So NFL.
Let's get into it, man. It's the last time we discussed our NFL, we did our Contenders, Pretenders. Some of those have changed.
Yes.
But I still want to do them. I also want to go through that. We have 2 weeks left, right, in the season?
No, we're down to the final week.
My God.
Yep.
Where did it go? Oh man.
It went by so quick.
So we have majority of our playoffs fit. So we're waiting on how many positions the AFC needs, 1 or 2?
Yeah, so we don't know the AFC South winner. The AFC South winner, the second place, will not be able to finish in a playoff spot. So Saturday night we have the flex game of your Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. As the winner is winning, you're in. The 7 seed is to be determined by the Patriots, Dolphins, or Steelers. The Patriots are in with a win over the Bills this weekend.
Not
The
gonna happen.
Dolphins need a win over the Jets with a Bengals. Or, I'm sorry. The Dolphins need a win over the Jets combined with a Patriots loss to the Bills and a Steelers loss to the Browns. The Steelers need a win versus the Browns, plus a Dolphins loss to the Jets and a Patriots loss to the Bills to get into the playoffs. So AFC is still got a little bit to go. The 7 seed for the NFC is also the same kind of ordeal. So you got Seattle, Detroit, and Green Bay.
Ooh.
Green Bay is winning you're in because they play the Lions. And that's winning you're in for them.
For the
Seahawks, if they win, they are in, I believe. I'd have to
Who
look
would've
at
thought that?
tiebreaker scenario.
At the
But
beginning of
Packers
the
play the
season.
Lions. They need a win.
Where's
and
that
the-
game at?
That game is in Lambeau, so Aaron Rodgers might be that bad man to go to the 2 seed.
Damn.
But the seeding is up for grabs in the NFC.
Mhm.
Like if the Eagles lose next week or this weekend against the Giants, they play the Giants, I think.
Yeah, they play the Giants.
The Giants aren't playing anyone, so it's good for the Eagles. But if they lose and the Cowboys win, and I think that if they just win and the Cowboys win and the Eagles lose, they get the 1 seed.
The Cowboys?
Yeah. Did the 49ers beat the Cowboys this year? They didn't play them, did they?
No, they didn't play.
They'd have to go to win percentage over the conference, so I'd have to look into that to see what happens. But I know that Dallas is still alive for the 1 seed, and they're the 5 seed right now. And Philly can drop to the 5 seed depending on a certain scenario that happens.
Let's look it up.
So it's wild. The only thing that's locked in is the Bucks at the 4 seed because they won the South.
Yeah, they won the South.
And the
You know what's funny?
The Giants are in the 6 seed locked.
Giants 6 seed lock. I didn't expect the Giants from the beginning of this year.
Brian Daboll, coach of the year.
I didn't see John Ball. Yeah, he to get that team to go 6-0 and then maintain the ship and keep it up afloat and then get it in a wild card spot. Like, good on you.
Yeah, what he's done with it's not much of a different team. I mean, they drafted Kayvon Thibodeau up there, and then didn't they draft the lineman? Was it the lineman they took?
They took a lineman and Thibodeau, and then Wandell Robinson who got hurt.
Yeah, they had a
same
really,
team.
Yeah, really good rookie class by the Giants, but not much changed from the team that they had last year.
Yeah.
So
Dallas is 12-4 and Phillies are 13-3.
Mm-hmm.
So if Dallas wins and Philly loses, they are tied together in the division. So then it goes down to division wins.
Yep. Okay.
And I believe they're both tied in the division wins. Then it goes, I guess, overall opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes by win percentage in the conference, I believe, actually.
Which I think they're both tied.
Oh. And then it goes down to something else. I don't know.
It goes down to if they played the AFC South, which they did. So then if they whatever their overall record against the AFC South was.
Okay.
Which I believe the Phillies, not the Phillies, the Eagles.
The Phillies.
I believe the Eagles are 3-0 against the South.
Shout out the Phillies. They made the World Series. Good for them.
Yeah,
Phillies having an awesome year.
Phillies having a good year. They deserve it. Once every 10. Yeah. Either way, you're gonna have a 13-win team as a wild card.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's stupid.
So if I got the playoff simulator up right now. Give me 1 sec. I'm gonna.
And then you got the friggin' Bucks, 8-8, doing exactly what Tom Brady wanted them to do. Just ride into this
Let's get
thing.
to the playoffs.
Let's just get to the playoffs and just rip it out.
Yeah, this just crazy.
Okay, so 8-8 AFC NFC teams.
There is a scenario where San Fran is the 1 seed.
How?
That scenario is a win for the 49ers. Washington beats Dallas, and then the Eagles lose to the Giants. That's the 1 seed for them.
So that's what we need.
Yep.
We need that.
If the Eagles win, they get the 1 seed.
They get the one.
But if you go Vikings win. Where are they at? Vikings over the Bears this weekend.
Yeah.
And then you get the Cowboys over the Commanders, the Eagles over the Giants, and San Fran over it. So if everyone wins, San Fran would be the 2, Minnesota the 3, Dallas be going to their old folks and Father Time down in Tampa as a 13-win team visiting
13 wins in 9-8.
Yeah,
and then you'll have. I feel like the Packers are going to beat the Lions, so you have a 9-8 Packers team going and playing.
The friggin' 13-4.
13-4.
San Francisco. Isn't that hilarious?
And
history has Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs because he can't be.
Because history has proven anytime the Packers play San Francisco, in San Francisco, the Packers win.
Yeah. What happens if Arizona? Okay, so if Arizona, oh man, that would suck. If Arizona beats San Fran, then the Green Bay would have to go to Minnesota. Minnesota would be so mad if they saw Aaron Rodgers after what he did.
We just did to him last week.
Yeah,
because that won't be a 1:00 game. They won't slot that for primetime Kirk Cousins. Like that's the 1:00 Kirk Cousins needs that to be at 1:00.
Yeah, exactly.
They will choke.
That is crazy. The playoffs are going to be fun. The AFC, there's a lot to unpack, especially with what happened last night on Monday Night Football, which there was just an update on DeMar Hamlin. He is doing better than about 2 hours ago. Cameron Wolfe spoke with Hamler's uncle, said that he is on a nephew, but his oxygen has been to 50%. He's been needing 100% since leaving the field last night. He is still sedated, and they're recovering him. Their focus is to recover him to be able to breathe on his own and healing his lungs, which obviously they performed CPR on him for 10 minutes. His lungs were obviously working overtime, and between the trauma of the hit and CPR, like it's gonna take some time for him, which is why they have postponed the game and will not play this week. And it's just you saw Josh Allen, he was hyperventilating the first commercial break yesterday when they came back, and no one really.
The question is does the league need to play that game?
There's speculation that depending on how the weekend goes, the NFL would be able to just push back wild card weekend an extra week, and then use that Pro Bowl week as like the championship weekend. But screw the Pro Bowl, like
it's just touch football.
Like it's literally flag football this year. It's 7-on-7. So I think we'll get an update next week. But man, that situation.
It's a seeding game because Cincinnati's 11-4 and Buffalo's 12-3.
Yeah, like there's
a seeding game.
It depends what happens in the Ravens-Bengals game this weekend.
How are the Ravens 10-6?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Without Lamar,
how is Pittsburgh 8-8? I think
Mike Tomlin is the best coach in the NFL.
He's the best coach in the last 20 years.
Kenny Pickett has like 6 touchdowns and 9 interceptions in like 12 games that he's played, and they're just winning games.
Doesn't matter. He wins.
It makes zero sense at all.
I will fight anybody that says Mike Tomlin is not a good coach.
I would murder for Mike Tomlin to
Mike
Cleveland.
Tomlin's the man. He is the man.
It's so frustrating. He's so good. But that brings me to this weekend's Browns game against the Steelers. We played spoiler last weekend against Washington. And this week we're playing spoiler against Pittsburgh. Like, we need this game so bad. And it was a rough year with the whole Deshaun suspension and, losing to the Jets up 14 with a minute and a half to play, and they had no timeouts, and missing a field goal to beat the Chargers, and just all these one-score games that just didn't go the Browns' way this year. But if you can spoil two teams' playoff chances in back-to-back weeks, number one, it shows that your team wants to play. They didn't quit on the coach. That is huge. And number two, if you can eliminate Pittsburgh from the playoffs in Cleveland, that is what these guys need to do and what they want to do. And Deshaun Watson showed up last week in the second half. I think
that pass
close out
Cooper.
Yeah. The out route that he ran up. Okay. That great throw.
That was a snapshot of what we saw 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's there. He's going to take him a while.
Yeah. It took him 18 quarters to get back to the Deshaun that we saw. And he's high stepping. Like, he was, making plays in the pocket. The pass rush got to him. He had to escape. Like, Deshaun and the Browns need him to show up in this last game. Like, this 6 games when we were 4-7, this was for him to get his feet back and really just knock off all that rust. It sucks we couldn't make a playoff run. We wanted to go 5-6 and have a chance with him, but at the end of the day, whatever. We'll run it back next year, and this can be a point where if the Browns win this game, they'll be 4-2 in the division against the Ravens, a really good division. The Ravens, the Bengals, and the Steelers. They would have the best record of any of the teams in the division versus the division, which is huge for next year for when Deshaun has a full offseason, new weapons, all this time in the offense. So I'm looking for, even though we're not going to be in the playoffs, I am looking forward to the end of this season on Sunday.
Yep. It's played out quite nicely. The NFL script writers, once again, they should win an Emmy for their beautiful script writing.
Yeah.
Because who'd have thunk it that your flex game on Saturday is going to be a Titan Jacksonville Jaguar game. Winner takes the division. And you have the story behind that is Tannehill's not even playing. It's Josh Dobbs.
Joshua freaking Dobbs.
The Tennessee legend.
It's going to be a fun game.
He didn't look bad against the Cowboys.
No, he did not. He did not look bad.
He did not look bad.
He went through progressions. There was guys that were dropping balls. He was stepping up on third down. He was making the right reads. Like, there was a lot to say about Dobbs.
He's been in the league for over 5 years now.
Yeah, and you know where he was at? He learned under Mike Tomlin. He sat
Tomlin for
behind
3 years.
Big Ben and just was on the sidelines for it. Like, the dude's an aerospace.
He's a freaking aeronautical engineer.
He's literally like NASA wants him to stop playing football
so he can come.
So they can hire him. Again.
So him being a Titan is huge for the fan base.
Yep. Yeah.
Because they love obviously the Vols, right? So he's just a well-known commodity, and it's better to have him with the reins than Malik Willis, just because
he looks lost.
He looks lost in the sauce. Like, Josh had his progressions. He looked really good. But they didn't play everybody. They literally set out. Everybody could sit out. And they're all playing this game. And it's going to be pretty much the Derrick Henry show in his hometown of Jacksonville.
Okay.
Because that's where he's from. He's from Yulee, which is just up the road. And there's one thing I know about Derrick Henry is his best runs of his career have come against Jacksonville.
Jacksonville and Houston.
Yeah. And it's going to be murder row, and all Josh has to do is literally hit the quarterback rollout in play actions and hit his tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the game plan changing very much.
Yeah, they just need to control the pace of play.
Keep long drives that they're used to.
Don't get into a shootout.
No, don't get a shootout. Burke, he looked good last week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see a lot of Burke. We're gonna see a lot of the tight end play and a lot of double, 3 to 2 tight end sets. Mm-hmm. So pretty much, Darren, hey, go ahead and try to stop me.
Yep.
I believe Jacksonville's having a great year. They're ahead of schedule to me with Doug Peterson as their head coach. They were really good. I feel like if they do win, they'll get blown out first round.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Titans win this one. They host who they host? They'll host the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that, and they played the Chargers early this year to a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want them to play the Ravens.
Jackson DeVille, though. I mean, Jackson DeVille is going to be dressed up and getting rowdy
up in your head, man. That little freaking dude.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be dressed up to the max.
Yeah, the playoff picture for the AFC: Kansas City by Buffalo, Cincinnati. Let's say Tennessee wins. They're at the 4. So then it goes Chargers, Ravens, New England at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So them being the 4, they would play who?
They would play the 5.
Yeah, so they're playing the Chargers.
Yeah.
I like them against the Chargers than them against Lamar and Baltimore.
Yeah.
They played them 3 years in a row, man.
And they had them.
The first year.
But also, like, Lamar, do we know if Lamar is playing this week?
I have no clue.
Like, they have clinched a playoff spot. Like,
he should sit.
He's sat for a month and a half already, though.
They clinched. Whatever, didn't matter.
Yeah.
I feel like if the Titans win, that momentum will carry them to the Charger game. They'll beat the Chargers as a revenge game from earlier this year. And then they'll carry on and play Cincy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. And they played Cincinnati already this year. It was a really tight game. And that was a rematch from last year's game where Cincy got those picks against Tannehill.
Yeah.
So the AFC to me, we can play contender pretender right now as we segue into our last segment. So, Kansas City.
Contender.
They're contender. They look so good. It's insane.
I'll take them versus the field.
Yeah, versus the field. Buffalo, contender pretender.
I mean, they've just been, not to be insensitive, but their defense has just been dropping like flies.
Ever since
Von Miller.
Yeah.
And even after last night because Hamlin's been playing great for them. Mm-hmm. He's been locked down in the secondary as the safety next to Poyer. He's been incredible.
They still don't have a running game.
Yeah, they still don't have a running game, which is one of my biggest pet peeves of them. You don't use Josh Allen as a running back. Like, I know it works for him, but it hasn't won him a Super Bowl. So, prove me wrong.
I think Jacksonville can beat them.
Right now, I think if they played anyone in the playoffs, even the first drive last night, Joe Burrow just marched right down the field and scored a touchdown.
Yeah, 7-0, boom, nothing.
They haven't scored. They haven't had the pass rush. I mean, Rousseau's very young, but you lose Von Miller. You lose Von Miller, the player, but you also lose Von Miller, the person in the huddle. Like, he gets everyone on the same page. Yeah. Like, that championship pedigree, been there, done that, knows what he's doing, knows how to line everyone up. The Bills have lost it. I'm calling them a pretender.
They're a pretender to me. They're a pretender to me just because they can't run the football.
Yep.
It's the NFL, for God's sakes. The championship teams of the last 10 years have been able to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to do it all the time, but they could run the ball.
Yep.
And they play solid defense. So those are two things that they're missing. Mm-hmm. To me, Cincinnati is a contender. If you want to go as a contender, Cincinnati, major contender. They're a young team that, God, it's just offensively crazy, and their defense has played so much better.
Yep.
So
got some injuries though.
It got some injuries, but they're the only team that doesn't have the Kansas City monkey on their back.
Yep.
They'll walk into Kansas City and beat Kansas City like it's nothing. So Kansas City has them on their back.
Yep. Exactly. It's mental now.
It's mental now. Like, it's like, okay, cool. Like, Joe Cool comes in there with his cigarettes. Like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm going to, who are you, Patrick Mahomes, State Farm, whatever. Like, who gives a crap about you? Like,
can't believe he doesn't have a commercial deal yet.
He's got no commercial deals.
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
He is kind of a,
he's like, weird. He's an oddball.
Yeah, he's just a weird dude.
He's a weird dude. Jacksonville or Tennessee. Pretenders. They just don't have it. I feel like Jacksonville next year, if they get another draft class, they'll definitely be a contender. They'll be an early contender for sure. Mm-hmm. They definitely have the coaching staff. Mm-hmm. Chargers. As much as I love watching them play, they still don't have it.
Yeah, they don't have it. Brandon Staley is going to coach like Cliff Kingsbury did last year, and they might get embarrassed in the playoff game. Like, I hate to say it, but yeah.
Yep. Baltimore, as always, they're always a contender for the first round.
Yeah, but dude, like, if they don't have Lamar, like, Tyler Huntley has not scored touchdowns. They're winning some of those games. They won that game against, like, Chicago. Was it Chicago that they won the game like 10-9?
10-9, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they win games. They're not going to win a game 10-9 against Kansas City or Buffalo or Cincinnati or Jacksonville. Like, it may be the Patriots, but they ain't playing the Patriots in the first round. Good.
Yeah. You ready?
So, yeah, I'm good.
All right. Okay. We're at the Ravens. Who are we at?
Yeah, we just did Ravens.
And then
Patriots, Dolphins, Steelers. I think we can lump them together as whoever gets that last seed as a pretender.
We can say
have to go to Kansas City, Buffalo, or Cincinnati.
Yeah, we'll say this: out of the three, which one has the best opportunity to go to the second round?
Miami with Tua.
Miami with Tua. I don't know. I feel like if the Pittsburgh gets in the playoffs, they always have a roughneck grit mentality that will just grind it out and win that one the first round.
Except last year when they had to play Kansas City and they got absolutely rickrolled. So that's
different quarterback.
Yeah, different quarterback. I don't know. I can't buy Pittsburgh as a contender. I've seen Miami score like a lot and play good defense when Tua is healthy. But unless you guarantee me the Tua health, I won't pick them to win in the first round. Plus, if that 7 seed is going to have to go on the road to Kansas City, on the road to Buffalo, or on the road to Cincinnati, I don't think that I pick either one of those teams, either of those 3 teams versus either of the 3 teams that they're going on the road against. Like, I can't find an argument.
I'll tell you what, though. If New England or Miami has to go on the road to Buffalo, based off of what we've seen already from this year, those 2 teams have a better chance than Pittsburgh and Buffalo.
Yeah, that too. But also, you did see Miami play in the weather. New England, God, Mac Jones sucks in the weather. Mac Jones sucks entirely, but he cannot throw the ball at all.
Not when it's cold.
So if it's windy or snowy, like, New England's going to score like 12 points and 4 25-yard field goals.
But New England's defense is pretty sound, man.
They're good, but you got to score points to win.
Yeah, that's true. Man.
Yeah, the NFC is just
The NFC's loaded. The
Yeah.
NFC's ridiculous. All right, let's in our NFC breakdown. Contender, pretenders. Philadelphia Eagles.
If they have Hurts, they're a contender.
Hurts, healthy Hurts, healthy offensive line, healthy defense. I feel like their defense lost a lot of power with Jordan Davis leaving.
Yeah. I think he's coming back, though.
And if he's back, they're contender all day.
All they got to do is beat the Giants this week, and they get an extra week or less.
Get an extra week.
So, contender.
Eagles minus Jordan Davis, pretender. Eagles with Jordan Davis, contender. That's how I see them.
Okay.
That's how I see them.
Yeah.
I feel like there's enough.
He was bad this week against New Orleans, but he was good enough against Dallas.
Yeah, it's all right.
So
it's it is. That's pretender for them. Next is Dallas, right?
Yeah,
that would be Dallas. It would just be the. I'm just doing it based off of the playoff. Front.
If Dallas is going to Tampa, they are a pretender. If they play someone else, they are a contender in the first round.
Yeah, just Dallas doesn't fare well in Tampa.
It's the same thing with Kansas City and Cincinnati. It's mental.
It's mental. I feel like they've played 2 times. They played twice last year in Tampa, or 2 times in 2 years, and they've lost.
Yeah, and they got smoked opening night, 19-3.
Yeah,
Tampa wasn't even good, but they just absolutely murdered them.
See, Tampa's one of those interesting teams. They remind me of the wild card Giants when the Giants went to the Super Bowl because they were hurt all year. Because that Giants team was very good defensively, and this Tampa team on paper with starters is very good, but they haven't had their full 11 out there all year. And they're getting everybody back healthy, and offensively they're getting everybody back healthy. And with Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. So they're scary at 8-8, coming off of pretty much just chilling all season long, and then getting hot at the right moment. So it's kind of like the Packers, the same way.
Yeah, the Packers are dangerous if they play anyone but San Francisco.
My number one thing, so if we're doing contender pretender for Dallas, it's just they look so good from time to time, but Dak, he's not been good with the ball.
He's turned it over, but that's what happens when you throw the ball a lot. Like, you're gonna have to live with the turnovers.
Like, they have to run the ball. Like, their best balanced games is when Dak throws it like 25 times max. Like, when he's over 30 throwing, 30 attempts, you're getting into territory you don't want to be in. Dak is a good 25 and under passer, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pollard or Ezekiel Elliott running about 120 with 1 touchdown. Getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb, getting the ball open to their guys. That's your best team, and letting your freaking defense do what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
So,
but their defense been banged up too. They've
been very banged up. It's the end of the year. It's the end of the year. So it happens when you have 17 games.
Yep.
So I believe in my heart. I believe they're a contender. They can do it. We've seen them do it. They just have to get their monkey off their back.
Yep. All right, let's rapid fire the last couple ones.
Last fire, let's go. We got San Francisco, 3, 2, 1, contender. With Brock Purdy.
I want to rock and roll all night.
God, that guy looks
Purdy
so good.
every day.
He looks so good.
He's so good.
God, he's so good.
He just looks so confident. And their defense is so good. Their defense is good enough to make those 2 stops that we were talking about.
God, I can't wait to see Brock Purdy host.
I think I might go buy 49ers games merchandise to wear for the game.
I'll get my Jawan Jennings jersey.
Yeah.
He's a vital part of that offense.
Yeah,
he really is.
He makes plays for them. It's crazy.
He's their go-to. He's like a hybrid tight end because he can block. He loves.
Well, that's the thing. He's very, very good in the blocking game.
And
so
run the ball,
when they run the ball and they see him just manhandle a dude, they're like, hey, we got to get a play to him. Let's reward him with a nice seam route or out route that he's going to be wide open on.
And he's always being covered by a tiny corner.
Yep.
And he's just
oh, this guy's not George Kittle.
It's just boom, dogs him, gets his first down. He can't blow anybody. He's not fast.
Yeah.
But he'll just dog you for the ball.
I love it. They're fun.
And then they got freaking Samuels coming back, Ayoko, freaking CMC, that offensive line.
Well, it's beautiful. It's literally art. It's literally football
perfection. God, it's beautiful. Watching them play, it's just
is what I look forward to.
I'm just this is beautiful. This is poetry in motion. This is awesome. So Contender, chef's kiss. They are definitely. We don't need to talk anybody else, but
Vikings not. Did we do Minnesota?
We have done Minnesota. Yeah. No, Vikings are not a contender
unless they play at 1:00 on Wild Card.
Unless it's 1:00 Wild Card weekend. Then that's about it.
Then maybe.
Giants, Contenders, Seahawks.
I don't know. Giants contender. I like that they can run the ball. I like that Daniel Jones is very mobile in that game with Dayball. I think they're a dangerous first round team.
They're pretty dangerous first round.
Unless they play San Francisco.
Yeah, then
that's just my asterisk.
Well, San Francisco's going to be playing Seattle.
Yeah, they're probably going to end up getting the 7 seed or whoever has the 7 seed.
Seattle.
So Seattle.
So right now it's Seattle, Green Bay, or Lions.
Or Detroit, and I think they'll smoke.
If they play Detroit, they'll smoke them. If they play Seattle, it'll be a close game into the fourth, just because they played 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they play the Packers,
it's over.
It's just something about the best. It's always the Packers, Niners. They're always the best playoff games.
Yeah.
That would to me
low scoring game one a few. Was it last year? It was low scoring.
It's just what it is, man. You throw everything out the window.
Yeah.
If those two play, but no, they're my contender. They're my NFC champion to beat. I believe if they can go on the road or host. If they host, let's say if who's the number 1 seed right now? If Philly gets beat and they're the host all the way through, they're winning. They're winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
I want to see Philly Niners AFC Championship game.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
That would be fun.
God, that would be fun.
In the link. Wow, that'd be hard for Brock, but I have faith.
I just think of the defense in that game.
Mm-hmm.
If Jordan Davis is healthy.
Yeah.
Niners Dallas game could be a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the Bucks just sneak up in that bitch.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I really don't want it to happen.
Yeah. All right. Here is the last thing before we go. AFC Championship game. Who's in it? Top of your head.
Kansas City, Cincy. Kansas City gets the monkey off their back.
Kansas City Super Bowl. All right. My AFC Championship game, it's going to be Kansas City and Cincy. Kansas City goes because they didn't go last year. AFC Championship game. 3, 2, 1, go.
You mean NFC?
Yeah, AFC, yeah.
Yeah. San Francisco versus... Why did my voice want to go to the Vikings? That is disgusting.
You're in my head. You're in my head.
I wanted to say
Vikings.
Oh, my God.
That's mine.
I'll go San Fran, Philly, and give me the great 2020 Well, 2019, 2020. Shout out last big sporting event before COVID shut the world down. Give me the Kansas City San Fran rematch.
Ooh. Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going a NFC Championship San Fran Vikings.
Wow.
And I like San Fran. I love it. But the Vikings, they'll be hosting. And this is the Kirk Cousins. There's something different about this Viking team. I've said it all year long. It's going to be the Vikings winning in a close game in Viking land.
Wow.
And it's going to be Vikings Kansas City. What a fun little matchup.
Well, it would be great.
Look at the colors.
It's a
The
fun.
colors.
Yeah, that's a fun.
It's a fun color matchup.
That's a good uniform game.
And that in Arizona, that'll be a fun game. And then and then we'll have to give our picks later. But
Yeah.
I really think that would be a fun NFC matchup.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Looking
Scott, this has
forward
been
to it.
fun, man. Guys, pretend. Continue to listen to the show on our pod and our YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and follow so you get all those notifications. This has been another great recap show. And hopefully next week we'll have everybody back again. If not, we'll continue to put out content for you guys going into national championship game next week. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the last week of the season and seeing how our predictions played out
Could be
as
some
well.
bold takes.
Continue to look at our plays, our porch picks, and our porch plays. Right now, for our bull pick'em, I'm in third place. My wife is in third place, and my dad's in second.
Wow.
Next, it's going to come down to the last game, which is the national championship game. I don't know who my pick is, but my pick is in first. And then we're continuing to win in our straight up picks and our porch pick plays. So throughout the bowl season, we'll continue to give you those insider insights on those plays. More to come in 23. We'll go more in depth in those plays. But this year was a phenomenal first year. So if you go to our Instagram or our Facebook page, you can literally track our progression as the year went on through college football. When it comes to our picks, Scott was on fire. Jake was on fire. I am third in all that, and I was still did pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're not supposed, we're not here to make you money, but hey, if you want to throw down some parlays and have some fun, listen to us. We have an idea of what we're talking about, and we love football. We're super passionate about it. But till next time, this is Nate and Scott and Jake signing off. Peace.